4 minutes to ensure that the system is working. Just giving some time. Just trying to send the let's put things together in the next few minutes. We're gonna kickstart. Okay, okay. Okay, the minute time we're just gonna kickstart today's class. Okay. Okay. You're welcome to a very special section of in our training program under the DRN Academy. Today we're looking at a very important topic known as design thinking entrepreneurship, or should I say design driven entrepreneurship. That's the main topic. Topic of discussion today is called design driven entrepreneurship, which is built on the concept of design thinking and entrepreneurship practices, where we bring in the framework of design thinking and fuse it into various startup applications, how you kickstart a venture. I believe this will enable you to kickstart a business successfully and also manage it properly, and then ensure that you build a successful and sustainable enterprise as an emerging entrepreneur, even an established entrepreneur. We've seen people lose fund and investment fund over time. And I'm talking for from 22 years of experience, both the good and the bad, and I'll be sharing with you today on how you can avoid such pitfalls as you kickstart your business. If you're thinking of transiting from the conventional business, should I say civil service, or you have a full paid job, but you're hoping that someday you're going to kickstart your venture, you've got to learn. Information is key. You learn for everything you want to achieve in life. You need information. Information is important. Wisdom remains the principal thing. You're learning what to do, because in learning, you have any. You earn when you learn properly. I want you to take on your note, you get your jotter and your pen so that you can jot things and probably write on the comment or send us a message via WhatsApp to 0758 668 2227, and you put in the UK code. We'll be glad to to reply your WhatsApp message. So talking about design driven entrepreneurship, what is it all about? Like I said earlier, it's about applying design thinking process into entrepreneurship practice, where you are able to provide solution and with the user in focus. You are not just developing a business because you love the idea of that business, but in this case, the user is your focal point. You we talk about designers. Why you have designers, and in fashion you talk about this cloth is a designer, or this bag is a designer, because it is tailored to be the specific need. It is tailored with a end user in mind, and so that is why it's a designer car. And it's a designer car, it's a designer wristwatch, it's a designer bag or dress, because it is tailored to meet the specific need of a particular client or segment of people. Same with business. Your business should be designed to meet the specific need of a given person or a group of persons. And until you do that, you might not be able to create a niche for yourself in the entrepreneurship world, and that will cost you loss of fund. You're going to lose money in the business. Instead of making profit, you'll be losing on revenue. Key to building a successful and sustainable enterprise, I believe, is connected design thinking to entrepreneurship practices. We have also what we call the system thinking, but the design thinking brings you to the minute issue that most time we take for granted. I believe that after attending this training today, you'll be able to say, okay, this is where I missed it. If you have be involved in a startup before you, and then you can say, okay, now I know better why other people fail, so that you can truly, like I said, avoid those pitfalls in your business or when you think of starting one. So we're going to be looking at the process of design thinking, and then we're going to see how we can connect it to entrepreneurship practices. Always remember that there are basic analysis you need to carry out when thinking of starting a business. These are very fundamental analysis. I'm going to just mention them, but that is not where we're looking. They're going to be of help to you. You're thinking of starting a business, or you want to just kickstart an enterprise, and whether it's charity based or the classic based entrepreneurship practice where it's purely for making profit. You've got to know these analyses are important. The first, and you're going to see how we connect this various analysis to design thinking and entrepreneurship, and how it relates to application of entrepreneurship principles. The first thing you need to understand is this. To run a business, you need to do what we call problem analysis. You've got to analyze the problem you're solving. And then the other thing, once you analyze the problem, both from the primary, secondary, and tertiary, knowing what the pain point of a given society and the solution people seek, they're trying to solve, the problem people seek to solve. And you're able to look at that through what we call the LCC framework, which is you listen to the heartbeat of the society, you connect this problem to a likable solution, and you can a viable solution, and then you move to the second analysis, which is and product analysis, where you begin to look at different solutions that can solve the problem you have analyzed. You verify that this problem exists. So you're able to carry out a product analysis to look, okay, this product is the best fit for this kind of problem. This can solve this problem. Now, once you've done that, you also want to realize that you need to carry out what we call the market analysis. You need to find out the, the the demography of the given market, and then one thing people do not take into consideration is the psychography of that market, the bias of the people, how the people respond to issues, how they buy things, the cultural bias, the social cultural bias, the religious bias, the educational bias. You've got to learn to understand the bias of the people. So in studying the market, you need to study the clientele, so you can bring it down from the market to the potential clients. So we have the problem analysis, the product analysis, the market analysis, and you have the client analysis. It falls that way. So you have the market and you zero it to the client analysis that talks about how do you recruit your anticipated client base, how do you retain them, how do you expand your client base. So we talk about client recruitment strategy, client expansion strategy, and client retention strategies. These are all extremely important when you think of kickstarting a business. Now, once you've done that, you want to put together an platform analysis. These are, or should I say, what we call, some people call it the channel analysis. The platform can also be connected to the market in one way or the other, but it's also more integrated in the digital space. What platform, what channel you can use to transfer value from the producer to the market. So you look at the channels. The channels, I prefer to use the channels here, the channels of transfer of value that you can use to get your products to the market. These are all important. You can go further and look at price analysis. And when you're discovering there are different pricing models that is suitable to a particular given um, group of persons. So you've got to look at what price model will you be adopting. Is it zero entry? Is it a subscription model? Is it what we call zero entry is a free entry? Is it a segmented pricing model where people pay in segments, or is it what we call the SYZ pricing model? You have some variable some services that you can pay for as kind of product, different, they're the same product but different in quality in a way that you can say, okay, you can buy this. And so we also have the quantity pricing model. You have some product where you can say, okay, this quantity goes for this and this quantity go for that. So there are different pricing model you can adopt to see how you can introduce your product to the market. Now, these analyses are key. However, for you to truly carry out a good analysis is where the design thinking process comes in. Yeah, in what gives birth to the design driven entrepreneurship. What's the design thinking process? There are various steps you need to carry out when it comes to design thinking. The first is empathy. You've got to relate, you've got to try to put yourself in the shoes of the people you're trying to solve problem for. You've got to look at it and say, okay, how do I gain insight to the world of the user? And you do this through observation, interaction, and immersion. So how do I empathize? How do I feel? Do I understand the pain of the people, what they're trying to solve? For instance, if I'm trying to develop a solution for diabetic patients, I've got to understand the pain of the diabetic patient, how they react, how they respond, what it looks like to be going through such issue. So you've got to know the pain, the discomfort of the people, and how they want the solution to look like. So empathy is key. People you must and every business connect to the pain point or discomfort. Call it the pain point or the discomfort of people. That is how you make people. You some people call it the P&G of business solution. Where sometimes you're looking at what people want to get rid of, or what people want to make them what people want to achieve to make them happy. So it's either what people want to get rid of or what people want to take in to make them happy. So it's either the pain or the gain of a society or given person. You can exploit that, not exploit, but exploit. You can exploit the opportunity, empathizing. Empathy is key to the design thinking process. You must be able to put yourself into the shoes of the people. And one of the way you could do that is conduct interviews. You conduct interviews, you do what we call shadow users, and you collect qualitative data. These are all key to design driven entrepreneurship. We're still talking about design thinking process, where the first phase is empathize. You've got to empathize with the client, with the user base through interview, research, and the rest. Collect data that you can give you uh, insights to other people, the insight to the pain, discomfort, and the gain of a given user segment. And then the next thing you want to do is to define what you're looking for. I said, and the goal is to identify and articulate a core problem. Because if you do not understand the problem, you will not be able to develop the right solution. So the next thing is to define the problem. You must be, people tend to, we see that even in government, where the government just go into a particular locality, society, and just begin to solve problem they do not understand. So you've got to learn to understand. You've got to define the problem, identify and articulate the core problem or opportunity based on insight from the empathize stage. Because you have empathized with the people. You've got to understand it. You've got to define the problem. It must be clear. One of the things you need to do is asking the people. You must refer back to the people. Is this your problem? Don't just assume. Assumption becomes the lowest form of knowledge in this case. You've got to ask questions. You've got to define the problem. And finding a frame like you come to a point where you look at ask questions regarding the challenges. Get feedback from people. It is extremely important that the problem is well defined. If not, you're going that you've just crossed a very important landmark when it comes to design thinking. The problem needs to be defined, and once you've defined the problem, it's time to move to the third phase of the design thinking, where we call this the to ideate. And what this means is that you need to generate different ideas. You bring ideas together. No one is useless. You okay, and these are the possible ways this problem can be solved. That you have defined the problem, so you begin to because the idea rules the world. So you now come to the point where you ideate. You now say these are likely ways I can solve this problem, and and one of the way you do that is to organize a brainstorming section. You talk to people, you ask brainstorming techniques, and you have what we call mind mappings and affinity diagramming, and just to exploit possible outcome. Okay, if I solve this problem this way, this is going to be the outcome. Because sometimes in solving problem, you create more problems. So you want to find out, how do I bring this idea? Now I've empathized with the people, we've defined the problem. We need to come with a good idea. That is what concept of idea is. You've got to come with a good idea. How do we do that? You've got to brainstorm. You get people to, okay, if this is the problem, what solution, what kind of solution do you think these people need? Because I've seen people in trying to solve problem create more problems. So you don't want that to happen. You've got to do that. Now, once you do that, you're going to realize that you come to the point where you have the best fit solution, the right solution. After testing it, you know, so this is the best solution that address the problem of the people. And once that happens, you're going to test it with a prototype. The fourth stage is that you've got to ensure that you have a prototype. And a prototype is the minimal valuable product that can address the problem that you can show to the market or a potential investor and say this product can solve this problem. It might not contain the entire solution, but it's the minimum valuable product that can be accepted by the market. That it there's room for improvement without any shadow of that, but it is the minimal valuable product that can be accepted, that can pass the 4A test of availability, adaptability, um, availability. No, first is acceptability, is accepted by the market, is available, is adaptable, people can use it, and the fourth is affordable. So you must bring that prototype that people can look and say, okay, so you create a simple, scaled down version of the product or service to visualize solution. Then you look at that, you test that, we see, and great companies do this. You have a prototype here. So you want to go, you're looking for an investor, they need to see your prototype. These are important. Now, once you've done that, it is time to test the market. I say this often that you don't test an idea. You don't just like you don't test an unknown ocean with your 2 foot. You don't test the market with full investment. You've got to invest on a minimal level. So you have what you do is that you have what we call a controlled space and market control platform where you test. I call this a pre-launch, where you test the prototype. Now, what you get feedback on prototype to learn what works and what doesn't. So that's the prototype stage. You test the idea, you see what you need to do. For instance, I was working on a project recently on recruitment and training for Diaspora community in Europe. Then we started with the concept called the GetUKWorkExperience.com. But when it was tested in the market, it was moving very fast. Actually, within 3 days, we got more than 1,500 subscribers. Within a week or so, we got more than 1,500 subscribers. But there was something that was missing. We did not take into consideration the remote work. That somebody in Nigeria, for instance, or in Ghana does not need to travel to Europe to work. The person can be in Nigeria earning pounds, and that money will be more useful for such a person because the person is earning in pounds but is spending in naira. So there's more value for that money than somebody that earning pounds and spending pounds. So we began to look at why don't we have a global concept? Because now we're talking about the global community. You can have somebody provide work in is based in the UK but is employed in Nigeria. Talk about the remote working concept now, where people can say, okay, I'll travel to a country twice in a year, spend a month there to do the physical things I need to do, or 4 times in a year, but the rest of the year I'm working remotely. And so we discovered that the entire workspace is changing. So we need to go back and redefine our idea. We need to go back to the beginning, and then we got something different, which we'll be announcing very soon. So you've got to test your idea. If not, you're going. If you launch fully, tendency is that you may just have what we call shallow demand, and then the idea might be successful for maybe a month, 2 months, 6 months, and then suddenly the demand stop coming. We've had business like that where at the initial stage, for 6 months to a year, we're making millions, but suddenly the pool dried up. The pool dried up because we did not go through the process of design-driven entrepreneurship. So what I'm teaching today will help you save yourself and will help you manage resources effectively, manage your time and manage your finance, manage even relationship. Because when you do not, when you fail, when a business fails, sometimes relationships go sour. So it's important understand this concept if you are kickstarting your business or you're about to start one in the future, that you understand the process of design driven entrepreneurship, where you don't just jump into a business, you go through the design thinking process. Well, I'm going to start from again. So I'm going to start it off first so that you understand the concept. Which the first one is to come to the place where you empathize. Is because you must be able to connect to the pain points of the people, the discomfort of the people, and to know the problem you're solving. You must empathize. If not, it's going to be building castle in the air. So once you have gone through the first stage, which is to gain insight into the user's world through observation, interaction, and immersion, that is key, is very important. And we said one way you can do that is to conduct interviews, do shadow users, and collect qualitative data from the end user, your potential users. Empathize is important, to empathize with the people. The next thing is to define the problem. Don't just assume this is the problem of the people. You've got to reaffirm it and define, is this the real problem? Which, like I said, government, especially those in the governmental sector, they have made so many errors. Just assuming this is the problem of people. We see United Nations even making such mistakes in developing economy. You've got to define the problem. And that means you've got to identify and articulate the core problem or opportunity based on insight from the first stage, which is to empathize with the people. You've got to articulate the problem. You've got to know this is the real problem. And that is extremely important. Then we talked about the third stage is to develop an idea. Make sure that you come to the point where you ideate and the process, which is to generate a wide range of creative ideas to solve the defined problem. You have multiple solutions. You begin to streamline them. You begin to streamline these ideas to the best fit solution. Now, once you've done that, it's time to develop a prototype from the idea, from the best fit idea. You develop a prototype. Prototype is to create a simple, scaled down version of your product or services, because it's extremely important. You've got to, it could be, for architecture, it might be just build a sketch, or you develop a simple model or digital stimulation of to get rapid feedback. I've done that. Actually, done that in the past. It works. It just saves you a lot of risks. It helps you maximize your risks. It saves you a lot of problem. Then once you've developed it, it's time to do what we call a pre-launch or a test drive. You've got to test the idea, test the prototype, and then gather feedback from people. You or call what we call selective marketing, and where you have a controlled marketing space where people can give you feedback about the products and the prototype and tell you, okay, this is what you should change, this is what you should put. Like I said, we recently had one for a television station here in the UK, where we had a pre-launch to have a test drive and to test the idea, and we were able to get feedback. And I tell you, that day we got a very valuable feedback. That if we had just launched the TV station without a pre-test or the pre-drive, would have been in trouble. Probably somebody else would have picked that idea, had that little bit, and poof, and it goes off. So you want to test the market on it. You have a controlled space where the market can be tested, the idea can be tested, and you get feedback. Once you get that feedback, that brings you to that point where you begin to say you have a solution. Like I said, there are 5 stages every business or enterprise goes through, and you don't want to miss any of these stages, because it leads it's just the successful um once you successfully complete this stage, it gives birth to the next stage. The first one is, so once you have gone through the design thinking process, that gives birth to what we call solution development. These are all part of the solution development stage. And you're going to realize that everything I've shared here can be summarized as data-driven decision-making process. So the design and the data-driven decision-making process is a framework that we developed um, at the Ambassador Advisory and Investment Limited, one of my other company, where we help company make quality decision based on data-driven um, framework. So we call it the triple D, data-driven decision-making process. So everything we've shared, and one of the way you can have a good data-driven decision-making process is through design thinking. You collect the data, you empathize with the people, you ask questions, and then you collect the data from the people, you define the problem, you prototype, you have a prototype solution, uh, you define the problem, you have various ideas you can use to solve the problem that leads to a prototype, and then you test the idea that comes to the conclusion of the solution driven phase or the first stage of every business. Now, it is only then you can begin to apply this principle into business. I said something in one of my teaching that the 5 stages we tend to avoid, we just jump from, we tend to do what we call it the startup. No, business does not begin with a startup. I know most time we talk about strategies for starting a business, but it's always a pre-start. And the idea, the design, the design-driven entrepreneurship gives you both the pre-startup and the startup process of a good enterprise. And that is why I subscribe to design-driven entrepreneurship to anyone that wants to build a successful and sustainable enterprise. Make sure your solution was born out of a design thinking process. It will save you a lot of problem, and you'll be able to say, okay, your solution is from a triple D, the data driven decision making process. Now, once you've done that, everything I've said brings you to the point where you can say you've developed a solution. So we have the 5 stages of every business is first the solution development, the solution development, the second phase is the startup, the third phase is the standardization of that business, the fourth phase is the scaling up of that business, and the fifth phase is the sustainability and phase of that business, where you can be rest assured that the business is sustained by creative and innovation strategies, and that is put in place to ensure that the business can respond to market force at every time when there's a change in cultural behavior of the market, the behavioral consumer behavior. You can respond effectively and through innovation, creativity, and innovation, and the rest of it. So I want to truly encourage every one of you to take some time, go back and listen to this video again. See and ask yourself, even for those of you that have begun, you have kickstarted a venture, ask yourself, did I go through the design um, driven entrepreneurship process? Did I really follow the first, which is E? Did I empathize with the market? Do I truly set up a business that is solving the problem of people, that is connected to the pain point of the market? And then you ask yourself, did I go through the second phase of saying, okay, now that I have come to the point, did I define the problem, or just solving a problem I assume is the problem of the people? Then did I look at different ideas, or just pick one idea? In the idea stage where you have the brainstorming section, every idea is welcome, no matter how stupid it sounds. Sometimes the most stupid idea might just be the main thing you need to solve that problem. So you welcome every idea in that brainstorming section. You write all the ideas and you begin to screen the ideas in line with what you have received, the pain point of the given market. Also considering the time, there are various factors you need to consider. Talk about the pestle and find, okay, is this a creative idea, but is it innovative? And all those things are important. Now it is only then you begin to talk about developing a prototype, and then you test the idea before you officially um, go back. You either officially launch if everything is perfect, or you go back to see what you can rectify before you finally launch your business. So that everything I've said brings you to the conclusion of the solution development stage. Now, entrepreneurship practice begins fully from the startup, and there are things everything I talk about, the various analysis will be easier to do if you have the design thinking process in place, where you can begin to say, okay, I've carried out a good problem analysis, a product analysis, carried a good platform analysis, and I've done a good pricing analysis. Because basically there are four analyses. There's several analyses out there, but these four are important. And problem analysis, product analysis, platform analysis, and pricing analysis. And then you can begin to look at how you promote your business and the rest of it. That will enable you to run a successful entrepreneurship practice. So I'm going to be stopping here today, because the whole essence of this training is to enable you kickstart and understand the design thinking process as it relates to entrepreneurship practice. If you do not understand that, you're going to be building business on faulty premise. I want to thank you for being part of today's class. I look for those of you that may want to have the full, this is just the basic when it comes to design driven entrepreneurship. There's so much to learn, and that will be for people that want to attend the certification course of the on design driven entrepreneurship. If you're interested in that, feel free to send us an email on admin at getglobalworkexperience.com. At me at getglobalworkexperience.com. Send us an email and said you will be willing, you want to attend the certification program, the design driven entrepreneurship certification program. This all I just shared today is just giving you a basic understanding of what design driven entrepreneurship is. And for those of you that will be attending the class, the design driven entrepreneurship certification program, you're going to be learning the concept and the full concept of the data driven and decision making framework. You're going to be learning the 10 P's of entrepreneurship from passion to profit making. And then you're also going to be learning what we call the full concept of design driven entrepreneurship. That will be part of the course and design driven entrepreneurship certification program. And I'll tell you, it's highly affordable. We also offer scholarship. I want you to also click this link and make sure you subscribe to this channel and then send us an email. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 0758 668 2227 +44. That is the UK code. So you can just put +44 758 668 2227 to let us know that you're interested in attending the design driven entrepreneurship certification course. I want to thank you for being part of today's section. I look forward to hearing from you. My name is Oba Boniface Omozwapo. You have a great day and stay blessed. Bye.